dry brush effect on, this is dry paper. Dry brush effect. This is wet on wet. Wet the paper and then put the paint in. It's going to move around. That doesn't happen with the dry effect. Now, if my paintbrush is pretty much just dry and I go into a paint that's pretty much just dry, then I really just get this scrubbing over the paper, right? If I do a fairly dry brush, a little bit of a wet brush on the dry paper, I get this. I got a little water on my brush, I have a little wet paint on my brush, and I get this. If I have wet paper, it's a little green because I've got the color in the brush. If I wet the paper, I get the color, I now have the wet on wet. It's gonna move around, do its own thing. So that helps to explain a little bit what it means to be wet on dry, wet on wet, dry on wet. Wet on dry, dry on dry. It's like a, scraping over the paper. Because the paper's dry, the brush is pretty much dry, the paints are fairly dry. But here, with the paper being wet and adding the color is going to move around, and that's called wet on wet. So I hope that kind of explained a little bit a difference between there's much more to it, but in a very simple way, very simple fashion. That's the, 3 ways of using the watercolor. And it falls into place no matter what you're doing. If I come over here and wet a little area, take my paint, I can make make my leaf, and it's going to move around. The water's going to move around, and the paint's going to move around with the water. But if I don't have my brush is only a little wet, and I have my paint, and I come here and I put the paint down. Oops. I don't have much water on my brush, and I have none of my paper. Much more significant, and paint does not move around.